Hi, welcome to another edition of the Michigan Conservative Roundtable. We're like the five, but there's only three of us, and without Dana Perino. Tonight, you're going to be treated to another Marty Monologue, where we have just the right amount of alliteration. And this is a bit of a follow-up to one of our videos a few days ago dealing with the seeming epidemic of mass shootings in the United States and why they've come to be. And I'll tell you exactly why they've come to be, because we as a society have come to really kind of encourage them, and it really all begins with our system of education. The Western system of education, and I want to stress Western because this is not just a U.S. phenomenon, the Western system of education, quite frankly, is dominated by very poor philosophy. We start by teaching students, teaching them to be non-judgmental. Isn't that a judgment? Okay, well, there's that. We teach them that they can be we teach students they can be whatever they want to be. But if we really mean that, and our teachers purport to mean that, then how can we ever tell these students no? How can we ever tell them no? You can't be that, whatever that may be. We teach them that there's no ultimate right or wrong. Well, if there's no ultimate right or wrong, how can we really have any fruitful conversation about anything, let alone actually teach these students anything? Now, if we're searching for blame, we could put this on the philosophy of John Dewey and William somebody or another. I didn't bother to look up William's last name because you know what, Bill? If there's no ultimate right or wrong, then we don't have to care about factual accuracy either, do we? If we don't have to care about factual accuracy, what is that going to do with our system of education and how children learn to think, say, and do things? What we've really got here is an inbred tension in our basic educational philosophy. If non-judgment is in fact if saying we're non-judgmental is in fact making a judgment, and it is, you know what? The sharp kids out there, even the duller kids out there, they're going to see this. They're going to see that contradiction, and you know what we're going to have? We're going to develop a nation of cynics. We're going to develop a nation of all sorts of different insanities and pathologies, and it's all going to come with non-judgmental. Nothing's really right or wrong. And if you begin with an inherent contradiction, which education does, then these are the results we're going to get. Nonsense has really become the basis of our modern culture because of these things. Yet our progressive friends still try to argue that there are certain standards that we must follow, and the standards are conveniently their standards, supporting all of the stuff we've talked about, transgenderism, blah, 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 things that we've talked about before. But you can't have it. Again, we're back to that kind of intrinsic contradiction. You can't have both. Either there are standards we have to follow, that we all have to follow, or there are really no standards at all. And if standards exist, then they must be taught universally and unequivocally. We must say, this is true, it's got to be done, period, end of report, or you go entirely the other way and there are no standards of right and wrong, so everybody do whatever they want. So education, as a result, doesn't really teach. They don't really teach. And what do we have because of this not really teaching? We've developed a society where anything goes and nothing matters, and I want to shout out to my friends in Intellectual Takeout for pointing that out to me in a very good article. We end up with a society, therefore, that is morally barren. And morally barren societies not only allow evil, they actually cultivate evil. Remember, and I can't stress this enough, nothing ever is right or wrong. And that will not merely allow a tolerance of evil, that calls on a cultivation of evil. So in that light, why should we be shocked at there being mass shootings? A guy shoots up a Walmart, a guy shoots up a concert, a guy shoots up a conference or whatever. Why should we be shocked? Nothing's right or wrong. Yet we're surprised by it. And I don't understand why the surprise should be there under the circumstances. I'm going to finish with a quote from one of my favorites, C.S. Lewis, in his book, The Abolition of Man. Lewis says, favorite author C.S. Lewis in The Abolition of Man says that we laugh at honor and are shocked to find traitors in our midst. But that's exactly what we've done with modern education. When we have a society where anything goes, then you're not wrong is as good as anybody else's right, and as long as we have that sort of morally barren society, we're going to have things like the mass shootings that are happening out there, and not just in the United States, but really throughout the Western world, because hey, if you can't get a gun, what happens in France? They chase people down the sidewalk in Big Mac trucks, right? So, that's why we have not just the mass shootings, the mass attacks, the mass killings of any type, and it's happening everywhere in the Western world, and it's happening because of our moral barrenness, which begins in the schools. That's your Marty Monologue for tonight. As always, if you like it, please, if you like what we've said, please subscribe, please comment, and as we always say here at the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.